There we go. Hello, everybody. Friday. That means it's time to have a support call. And glad to be here. So, yeah, politics, news, current events. I've been talking more and more about this on these support calls, and it feels right. It feels right. And I'm just going to start off with a little story here just to warm things up, stir things up, and then we can get to some releasing. So, I understand. I know people, I'm sure you do, who just don't want to watch the news, read the news, have anything to do with what's going on right now, and totally understand that. I really, really do. In fact, I sometimes wish that I could avoid it myself. And I have an old friend. He's become a friend. We're both old. And 30 years ago, he was my professor of political science. And we get together every so often to have a coffee and have a chat. We did that a couple of days ago. And what's interesting is that my political science professor and I, we don't have any conversation about politics, about news, about current events, except maybe the last 5 minutes of our conversation. So that's part of my background. I have a degree in international relations, and well, I had a career as a journalist. That was my first career. So it makes it rather difficult for me to avoid the news. Or to put it another way, it's very attractive. The other part of it, though, is that my second career was online. I was an internet entrepreneur for many, many years. And yeah, doubly so. I'm one of these people that are terminally online. And so, yeah, something happened a couple days ago that really stirred things up. And that's I found myself posting about the news, and yeah, one of those things that just happens online occasionally. Somebody just really objected to the news, somebody who disagreed. And then another person stepped in to ask me, rather than just posting, shouldn't I be commenting? Shouldn't I add my own context to all of this? Anyway, all of that just created reactivity and fear. Maybe that's something you can relate to, maybe not. The news itself right now is disturbing. And in particular, what disturbs me at the moment is we're seeing cases of individuals being arrested and detained who have legal status in the United States as students or as green card holders. And some people have been deported who are also residents. And they are doing this in the most, how shall we say, the most fearful manner possible. It's theater, in my opinion. Rather than just phoning somebody up or having them report to some place, they show up on the street without uniforms, wearing masks, and just take the person away. I cannot understand why this is being done. Well, except that I can. It's very obvious. This is an exercise in control, a demonstration of control and power. And so, having said all that, let's just get into some releasing. The first thing that comes up, at least for me, is fear. So I invite you to look inside and see if fear gets stirred up by any of this. Fear that you might be harmed in some way. Could be economic harm with the trade wars. Could be that you're an immigrant in the United States. Could be you're just planning a trip. So whatever reasons don't really matter. Just notice the presence of fear, if that's here. Just check inside and see what stirs up. And to the best of your ability, could you open to that which is? Just allow it to be like that for a moment. Not forever, but just for now. Allow it to be like that. When we allow the feeling, rather than suppressing it or repressing it or rejecting it, when we open, you may notice that it actually, it shifts. Sometimes it can even intensify, but as you remain open, just wait and see. It begins to soften. It begins to dissipate. So take a breath and just as best you can, see if you can allow whatever sense of fear that is present to be here. Maybe you're an old person like me, and you, David, I see you. And maybe collecting a Social Security check is something that's needed, valued, and maybe you feel that that is threatened as well because guess what? So just allow any feeling of fear to be here. Just allow it, invite it, and to the best of your ability, could you welcome it? Take a breath or two just to open even further. And then just check and see, does this feel personal? Does this feel like it's your fear? You are threatened. And whatever comes up, could you allow that to open to that? Let it be here. It's here anyway. And then, could you let that go? Is that possible? Are you able? And remember, either answer is acceptable. And would you let that go? Are you willing? And when? So let's just check in and see what's here now. Just notice. Notice any thoughts, images and sounds, memories, stories. Notice any sensations in the body. And just for now, let's drop into the body. Just notice what happens in the body in response to this emotion, to these thoughts. Notice any tension, discomfort, pain, anything that's unwanted in the body, any reactivity. And then notice that you've given it a name, an explanation, a story. But what if that's just made up? And just for now, could you allow it to be made up? Could you drop any story, any name, any need to make it mean something? And would you? And when? And so notice the body and notice what's happening and what has happened. And notice the presence of that feeling, that sensation, that energy in the body. Would you give it permission to do just exactly what it needs to do, wants to do, forever, however long it takes? Are you willing? And when? And notice how this shifts things inside. Notice the changes in the way that things are experienced in the body with that permission. What gets things stuck is when we attach meaning to that sensation, and then it becomes personal, then it becomes story, then it becomes stuck. But when you let go of wanting it to mean anything and allow it just to do whatever it does, it can dissipate, it can release. Let's have one last go at it. Just notice whatever is here, whatever is being felt, whatever was stirred up. And this could be anything. It doesn't have to have a name. It doesn't have to be what I said it was. Whatever you seem to be experiencing. And take a closer look at the memories, stories, thoughts, images, sounds, and check into the body's sensations, how it seems to be reacting. And now, when you're ready, can you find the one who feels that way? Can you find that individual inside? Or is it possible that this is just passing through awareness, all of it, sensations, thoughts? And notice also any shift in how things are perceived now. Notice a loosening and unraveling. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Hello, Lawrence. You have your hand up. You can unmute and say hello. Thanks for raising your hand.
Yes, hello, Stephen.
Hello.
Always you. Long time no see.
Long time no see.
I just popped into the call.
You have.
I'd like
Welcome.
to make a presentation about. I feel very restless and tense right now. And
Restless?
I'd like to restless and very tense. Yeah, it's quite unpleasant.
Okay.
And I'm having difficulty. Working with it, being with it.
Okay. All right, then. So let's just start by noticing all of that restlessness and tension. It sounds like that's pretty much something that's happening in the body. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Okay.
It also affects the mind, but it's primarily
Right. Okay.
physical. Yeah.
Well, okay, since that's being experienced, could you just open to that for now? Just notice it and allow it. And even if you can, could you welcome it? Just give it space.
As best I can, yeah.
Could you repeat that?
As best I can, yes.
As best you can. Absolutely. That's all you can ever do.
Mm.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, how intensely does all this appear at the moment? 10 would be the most
A-
intense.
Actually, a 9 right now. It's surprisingly high.
9.
Yeah,
Okay, then. Do you suppose you might even be able to welcome it up to a 9.5 even?
I can try. Let me welcome it. Like,
Uh-huh. Oh,
yeah, a
okay.
bit. I can go a bit higher.
There you go. Again, only as best you
Yeah.
can. That's right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so focus on the body. Just turn the attention inward into what's being experienced in that body. And notice that you've given it a name and a description
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even a story.
Mm-hmm.
But what if this is all just made up? Would you be open to that possibility? What
Yeah.
if it doesn't
Just
need
I
any
just
explanation? Yeah.
no, it really doesn't. It's a sensation.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
It's
So would you give that sensation just permission to be like that for now?
for now, yeah.
I mean, it's like that anyway. Whether you want it or
Yeah.
not, it's still there. Yeah.
It's always okay for now.
Exactly. That's all you can ever work with is the here and now.
I mean,
Yeah.
but
Right.
when you're with me and it doesn't the sensation feels less threatening or less urgent somehow.
Less urgent. Okay.
Yeah.
But again, would you just give this permission, that sensation, to do whatever it needs to be however it needs to be, to go wherever it needs to go?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And don't forget, 1 or 2 deep breaths also kind of helps to settle things. And so here's another question. Is there anywhere that the sensations are not any part of the body that doesn't feel that way? Turn your
Yes,
attention to that part that doesn't
definitely.
feel that way.
Yeah, there are several.
Huh, exactly.
Actually, not now that you say that, it's really only in mainly in the head and in the solar plexus a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The rest
Right.
of the body doesn't actually seem that affected.
Mm-hmm. And saying hello to Lena. Good. So,
Maybe the shoulders, but yeah, like I would say, like most of the body is not affected.
right, right. And let's go a little deeper. Is that actually you, what's being experienced, or are you that which experiences?
Um, it is experienced.
Mm-hmm. So notice how that shifts things even further to take that stand. Right. And continue with deep breaths as well and see if that helps. It usually helps me.
Certainly can't hurt.
Right. And is it possible that you still want to change what's being experienced in the body?
I would like to, yeah.
Yeah, another way of asking this would be, does that feel unpleasant? That's also the judgment. Yeah, right,
Well, it's not much actually, but I guess there's still some judgment and
right.
wanting
Hmm.
for it to change, but yeah.
Well, I'm going to invite you to play a little game with me.
Mm-hmm. Let's play.
Oh, good. So just pretend for now that that's actually something that you've always wanted to feel, and that it's a wonderful
Mm,
feeling.
mm,
Yeah, and see if you can actually savor it. And what I mean by that is like some fantastic taste, and you just want to explore it in great detail.
yeah, like it's melting on my tongue, like all the
Mm,
nuances, yeah, the
exactly so.
flavors, yeah, baby, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice thing to have a body that actually feels things, and it feels all different kinds of
yeah,
things. So, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And now that's what's being felt, and it's the most fantastic thing to feel that.
Uh-huh. I can actually open to that. Now there's like a yeah, there's an interesting development. What would be labeled a headache sometimes is now developing.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can savor is just the kind of dynamic nature of the
Right.
sensations.
Right. Well, sometimes feelings happen. Yesterday, I felt a huge reactivity in the body, and I just had to lie down for a good hour. Okay,
You
if this,
didn't you watched the news?
how did you know? Of course.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And then you get to feel
yeah.
all these different kinds of feelings going on.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh my. This is despair. Oh, yes. Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Oh,
Hmm.
this is
I always,
grief.
yeah.
Oh, right. It's part of the human experience. But and I'll share this with you and the rest of the group. There's a teacher. Her name is Carolyn Elliott, and
Hmm.
she wrote a book called Existential Kink.
Uh-huh.
And I think you could think of it as releasing on steroids.
Mm.
But it's exactly what we just did. The idea is, well, you think about what kink is, pleasure and pain. Some people,
Hmm.
um,
True, yeah.
yeah, well, what it really means is this, is that what we call or choose to call pain is really an intensity of physical experience. And so by welcoming it and choosing to see it as positive, we can actually find even a little bit of thrill and enjoyment in that, in what we choose to
Yes.
or have chosen to call pain. So the idea is, oh well, you're a German, so you'll appreciate a little bit of Nietzsche as well, I suppose. No,
Huh?
I forget the Latin expression, but he talks about love of fate. Whatever it
Amor
is,
fati. Yeah.
thank you, amor fati. That's the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's
Yeah,
being
yeah. It's like
experienced. It's like,
I pretend that I chose it, or at least assume I somehow did. And
well, sure, whatever
yeah,
it is a gift. Even if it's whatever it is, bring it on. Yeah.
as an experience. Yeah, yeah. That's a very high view to hold. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, a couple takeaways from this is that, yeah, by allowing things in the body, working with things in the body level, it's my experience is it's a much more powerful way to release.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are more oriented towards the mind. I myself am more oriented towards the body, and I find it very
Mm-hmm.
powerful. But with most people, it seems to be the case. When you drop into the body, and just let go of any description or story, then it seems to release a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
But then to really accelerate things is just to, what's the best expression?
Savor.
Turn it around and say, hey, bring it on, you know?
Yeah.
It's turbocharged welcoming. So,
Yeah. No, I can resonate with that. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I find myself doing this as well with just everything, the news included. It's whatever comes along. Amor
Mm.
fati, the love of fate. This is the best possible thing that could ever happen.
Yeah, it's unconditional love, essentially. Yeah. Yeah.
Another good teacher
Unconditional
is
acceptance.
unconditional acceptance. Yeah. Well, actually, let's just leave it like that. Does that feel like a good place to stop
Yeah,
for
yeah,
now? It's
very
okay.
good. Yeah. No, it was that was a very valuable thing with this.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm going to
Yeah.
lower your hand there.
Savoring. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. That's
Thank you.
good technique. Yeah. Thanks. So, Ladislav, you have your hand up, and I invite you to unmute. There we
Yeah,
go.
thank you.
I have a question for you. It's a technical question.
Go on.
Um, on the bottom of my screen, right around here, I'm seeing a kind of a flickering, and I want to ask you if you see the same thing.
Yeah, I see it.
Huh.
I never
Yeah.
had it before.
I think it might be my
Yeah,
equipment, but never mind. Yeah, curious. This is not about
possible.
tech support.
Yeah,
So,
can be.
so I see. I'm just going to guess, Ladislav, you're Slovak.
Indeed.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay then.
nice.
Good. Well, I used to be your
Mhm.
neighbor. I lived in Budapest for many years. So,
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Why?
oh, I still don't know.
Nice
I
place.
I loved it there. It was a good place to be for. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So how can I help you? What's happening right now?
Hmm. Well, I'm hoping my experience will help all of us. It's not going to be about politics.
That's okay too.
That I'm quite free of not caring at all.
And take this
But
off. There we go. Yeah, good. Good for you. Yes.
I was just, I was just doing, being focused and doing something or like researching a trip, and you get derailed by some thoughts you don't even realize. You just notice emotionally, like, hey, something's off. Like,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
but you still want to finish the task, right? Like you're doing something.
Yes.
And I went into some kind of like meaninglessness, pointlessness of everything. Like, what the hell? Like, what's the point now? Um, Kind of nihilistic thoughts, I would say.
Yes.
And that's, I think so. Like, there's no point, there's no purpose.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
Does there need to be a purpose or a point?
yeah. My mind suggests so.
Right. Okay. Well, that's just the mind being the mind. So what?
It's a question. So what?
I mean, it's a good question for all of us to consider. Does life really need to have meaning? Do we as people really need to have purpose? What if the meaning of life is whatever you choose to give it? What if your purpose is whatever you're doing now? What if it's really that simple?
Mm. What if it's completely arbitrary or redundant, even?
Well, what is the purpose of a tree? Please explain, right?
I'll say. Oh, okay, it is a question.
What is
Yeah.
the meaning of the sky? How are you any different?
Who I can think.
Sure, but is that you who are thinking? Let's just go. Let's get into that a little bit.
Okay.
Are you thinking, or does thinking happen?
Can it be both? Sometimes like this, sometimes active.
Uh huh. And I just see a message from IDY who says, I was wondering about that this morning. Yeah. Um, I'm tempted to offer you a little exercise. It's one that by the way, I just did this morning with my releasing partner.
Mm.
If you ever go to one of Hale's advanced retreats, he gives you a workbook. And the workbook is full of partner exercises, and they are wonderful. So I'm going to just lead you and the rest of the group through um, one of those exercises that really, I think, helps to make this point clear. So it begins with a little text explanation and then the exercise. I'm probably going to have a knock on the door because there are two children who like to come and play with me. So never mind. Never mind. We're not going to get interrupted by that now. So, anyway, so as long as there is a sense of being a person, there's a sense of being the doer, decider, the knower, the owner, and so forth. Yet there is actually an appearance of doing, deciding, knowing, and owning. This is still just an appearance. However, as we distinguish between the two, it can be glimpsed or recognized by no one that there is just this, and it is not personal or about you. So, is there anyone who sees, or is there just seeing? Just take a moment to sit with that. Is there anybody who hears, or is there just hearing? Is there anybody who tastes, or does tasting just happen?
Can I ask something?
Please. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, there is hearing happening, and something is observing. Okay, there is hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I actually get it. The point of like what's the question pointing at?
Well, is there anything to get? It's really an invitation to see what's true for you. I don't think there's actually a correct answer.
Mm.
There's nothing that you actually have to get. But if you're open to exploring it, it can be interesting. Shall I continue? Would this be useful? Yeah.
That's right.
So, is there anybody there who feels, or is there just feeling? Is there anybody who thinks, or does thinking just happen? Is there anybody who decides, or is there deciding? Is there anybody who does? Or is there doing? And is there anybody who desires? Or is there desiring? Last question. Is there anybody who loves? Or is there just loving? Now I'm curious to know what was experienced by Ladislav. Now I'm playing with language, but we can speak as normal people now. How did that feel?
Like I just have no clue. That's the fact. I don't know.
And
I
that's the
don't have.
correct answer. Right. Yeah. And just for now, could that answer be okay?
No.
No. Okay.
I have to know.
Good answer. Thank you. Well, so again, really, there's no correct answer here. It's a question of what feels true for you. But I can give you a couple examples of how this applies in our real life. And one of my favorite is well, okay, no, there's one statement that I think, or meme or saying that we've probably heard, which is dance like nobody is looking. You've heard that one before?
Mhm.
Yeah. So in my experience, um, that sense of me is a kind of a story that takes a lot of effort, right? So there's, if I believe that there's this me, then this me has, oh, I don't know, challenges, adventures, problems to solve. There is progress in life. There is gain. There is loss, right?
Mm.
And it takes a lot of work to try and get the good stuff and avoid the bad stuff and et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. But on another level entirely, all of this is just happening. And another teaching story I like very, very much is the story of the centipede and the spider. The centipede is a terrific dancer, world class, famous, elegant, beautiful, stylish centipede, right? 100 legs.
Mm.
The spider is extremely jealous. And so one day the spider asked the centipede, "Oh, centipede, you're such a fantastic dancer. I just have to know. First, you move leg number 19, and then you move leg 23. But then what happens after that? Is it leg 77 or is it leg 78? And then after that, well, can you help me? I'm trying to. Well, what do you think happens to that poor centipede? It sits there thinking about, which leg, which leg? And what do you think the result is? How can it dance? Because you can't dance when you're thinking about each and every step. Then the mind just gets in the way and it just becomes a disaster. And so that kind of masterful performance always happens without that sense of me in the way, if you start thinking about how you're going to appear, how people are perceiving you, are you doing it right, then really, I think we all understand that that's disaster. But
Mm.
the person who just does it without thinking is also doing it without effort. Does that make some sense to you? Does that help?
It does, yeah.
Right.
The finding the right level. I don't know if there is even a level between, doing and thinking.
Well, a
Like
level
choose,
be. Go ahead.
when you want to think and when you're just being.
I would say to you that most of the time, you're not even thinking about yourself. You're just doing. Most of the time, doing happens. Only occasionally does the mind step in and start analyzing, getting lost in story, thinking, and so forth. But most of the time, most throughout the day, that whole sense of self is absent. Absent. And getting back to the original question, what is the purpose of dance? What is the meaning of dance? What is the meaning of this cup of tea?
Depends on the person giving it something.
You can, exactly, it's whatever you want it to be, for sure. You know, I'm not saying that things are meaningless. You can choose to assign meaning. You can say, I can tell you a story about this particular pen. This is a pen that my father gave to me, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
But what is it in the end? It's just, I don't know, plastic and other materials. Does it have meaning on its own, or did I give it meaning?
Well, you have to give it.
But yeah, you talk about nihilism, and that's kind of a destructive, a sense of life has no meaning, therefore I want to destroy everything. That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But what if the world just doesn't have meaning and sense and doesn't need it? Would that be okay?
Yeah, I would. That would be the optimal. Yeah.
Sure is a lot easier.
It is. Um,
Yeah.
Business is easier than anything else.
Yeah. There's one more metaphor I also like to share, which is, do you realize that walking is really just controlled falling? Think about it. In order to walk, what happens? Let's see if I can do it this way. You have to move the body by sort of shifting the weight forward, correct? And then what happens? Then one foot is swinging out to catch the body, right?
Yeah.
And this kind of continues, and that's called walking. But what if you get that foot in the wrong place? Well,
Yeah.
you can fall down, right? Now, scientists, physicists, they can actually measure things and predict things, and you could use physics. You'd have to calculate the weight of the body, the forward momentum, etc., etc., right? And you'd have to sit there and make a calculation, and the foot needs to be in exactly this spot with this amount of muscle strength, etc., etc., right?
Mm.
Well, if you had to do that, you couldn't walk across the street.
Yeah.
Walking happens automatically, but like I said, walking is controlled falling. So from one step to the next, it's a potential disaster. And yet, you don't even have to think about walking. Walking just happens. And I would say to you, life is like that. And life is actually better like that. Doesn't mean that you don't care. Doesn't mean that, oh, no, nihilism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to live very differently, very forceful, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge drain.
Oh, a lot of effort.
And
A lot
low
of effort. Mm. And
and small or completely different result.
exactly. Well, I think a lot of us do that at one time or another in our lives, you know. There's a wonderful expression. It's called overthinking. Yeah. Is that helpful, or is there anything else we can work on?
Yeah, I think it's helpful. It's calming in a way because I am accepting it.
What if you don't actually have to do anything? What if everything is just happening anyway? It's a huge relief. No?
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent question. Is that good for now, Ladislav?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
And I have to ask, are you calling from Bratislava, or another part of
From
Slovakia?
Denmark, actually.
Oh, from Denmark. Gotcha. Okay. Well, then, again, thanks for raising your hand.
Thank you also.
Mhm. Well, so we still have time, and I'm flexible about this whole thing. I do see two names I don't recognize, and I'd really love to meet you if you feel like unmuting and saying hello. It's not necessary or required, it's an invitation. Or anybody else can step up and ask for help, or share a gain, ask a question. Or we can enjoy some silence. Oh, I see. That was ID. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's Ida. I just,
Ida.
yeah, Ida is a nickname a friend of mine calls me by.
Nice to
Um,
meet you.
yeah, hi. So, it's just like sometimes again, that getting that perception of vastness. That's just if you ask, so where's the I? And then I couldn't figure it out. There's there wasn't any way to specify that. And then this morning I was with that, so what is the meaning of all this? Like I've been pondering on myself because I just moved to the East Coast, and I'm having a hard time with the 3-hour change,
Oh,
so of in the States. And so pounding on myself for not being able to get up early and just being tired, and you know uh, and is it even, like, is there a reason for having done all this? So some days is the having that being okay with just one foot is in front of the other, and others is I just want to throw the towel and sit and watch the world move, you know,
right.
especially if I watch the news. Like,
Oh,
I voted and I made this, but then it's not only me, it's just probably didn't choose right, or That's what a democracy is about, the majority gets to say which way the tide goes. But does that, it hasn't worked this far. Why do we keep doing it?
Right. Right. Well, that's a lot of observations and questions there. Yeah.
Yeah, so a busy mind here.
Busy mind. Sure. Yeah.
Can we work on some of that?
Of course. Where would you like to start? What's the strongest feeling right now?
Well, just there's an uneasiness in my stomach, like I can't swallow this.
Okay. Perfect. So then, I invite you just to take a deep breath and allow things to settle. And everybody can follow along. And the wonderful thing is that on these calls, you discover that there are no personal problems. There's one or two people who are probably very grateful that you raised this question because, oh, yes, that's it. I need some of that. So just notice what's appearing in the body and notice where it's happening. And there can be, like you said, a sensation in the stomach, tension, discomfort, pain, lots of different words, but just notice the reactions of the body. And just for now, could you allow it to be like that? It's like that anyway.
Yeah.
And notice how the mind wants to jump in and give explanations. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's that kind of feeling. Oh, etc., etc. The mind would like to make stories and draw memories of how this has been felt before and all of that. But what if it doesn't have any meaning or explanation? What if it's just sensation in the body? Could you be open to that possibility?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
For now.
Only just for now, only as best you can. Exactly.
Yeah, my mind has to add.
Sure. Yeah. Well, mm-hmm. And what you just noticed is actually a useful observation. The mind will actually step up to help whenever it can. It's not the enemy. It's good to remember that. It's good to treat the mind as an ally, not an enemy, because it really does help. So just for now, could you invite the mind just to drop any kind of attempt to make any explanation? Could you just allow this all to be sensation in the body?
Yes.
Yeah. And would you make that invitation?
No.
No. Perfect. And when? Oh.
Now.
I didn't expect that. That was very exciting. Yeah, so good. And notice how things shift just on their own when you give them permission to be like that.
Yes.
Yeah. And what if that sensation was okay just like that? Could you give it your approval, even? That might be a stretch.
No.
No. Okay, then. That's okay. Excellent answer. But notice how even the no is a kind of release, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the fun thing. It doesn't matter if it's a yes or a no. In fact, the no's can often be a more powerful release. Because if that's what's being felt and you gave it permission, then it can just do what it does.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
If I may, I noticed a release, like my shoulders let go of this weight, and sitting straight. Whereas before I was crouching and I couldn't sit straight. It was heavy, so a big release. Thank you.
It's wonderful. Oh, does it feel good like that? We can continue if you'd like, or if there's any need.
Yes.
Sure.
No, well, there's something with my eyes. I can't see. I'm stressed. I don't want to see.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So you mean that?
it's like a meaning of life. I don't know. I
I think.
refuse to see.
Uh-huh. I
Like if
think
that's
that
gonna make a difference, right?
there was a problem with the connection. All that I heard was refused to see.
Yes, that
Yeah.
I was saying that. That's just there's so much information to see. I want to close my eyes and not when I open them. Everything is arranged, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to participate and fix things that I don't feel responsible for.
Mm-hmm. Well, just for now, could you allow yourself to feel as responsible as you do? Just give into that feeling.
No,
Oh, good, 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 good.
no,
Can you feel that
and
no
no.
as much as you feel? Yes.
Yes, I can feel that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a very strong no. I'm done with this.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Hmm. And does that feel personal? Does that feel like it's you saying no? It's all about how you feel, part of your story.
Uh, it just stopped. It's just a blank of, I don't know. I just
Okay.
like a blur sitting there.
Mm-hmm. So then,
There's nothing personal about any of this. That's what I feel.
uh-huh. Okay. Well, so right here and right now, what's being felt and experienced?
I'm clenching my eyes to the
Mm-hmm.
point that it hurts, and
Oh, yeah. So could you allow that resistance and allow that clenching since that's here?
no,
Mm-hmm. So the topic here is resistance.
yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Exactly. Well, very often we get resistance sandwiches, right? So,
Yeah,
right, you feel that resistance, but you also want to resist the feeling of resistance, and so on and so on and so
obviously.
on. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, then let's check a little further. Can you find the one who feels that way? Mm-hmm. But check and see. What is that me? Is that a thought? Is that a feeling? Is that a sensation in the body? A memory? Belief?
No, it's beyond that.
No. Could you allow yourself to rest? Is that beyond for just a moment?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Resisting is okay.
Absolutely. Resisting is fine.
Huh.
Are you
All
the
that
one
for nothing.
resisting, or is resisting happening?
I was resisting doing, being, enjoying. It was
Hmm. And what's here now?
consciousness.
Hmm. And is that
Again,
okay as it is?
it is.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for raising your hand, Ida. Yeah.
Thanks.
Hmm. Well, an hour has passed. I'm still flexible. There we go. She put her hand down for herself. Yeah. I saw Sam just arrived. You're welcome to step up if you'd like. It's not required, though. Anybody who'd like to ask a question, ask for support, or share a gain, all of this is welcome. And if not,
Hello. Since you mentioned
hello,
Sam, I'm here. uh, so this is the first time that I join one of these calls.
welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Well, Nana, something that happens when I get a trigger by things all the time, like yeah, that's uncomfortable, like being triggered by the same things every day.
Mm-hmm.
And my reaction is like welcoming everything, but I guess there's some resistance to that. It's always there, and it has been there for such a long time. Like for example, if I hear someone saying something, uh, then it triggers me, and it's very annoying to still being triggered by that. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what should I do about that. Then
Well, let me ask you, is that happening right now?
it happened today, not now. Yeah, not now
Okay.
in this moment.
So this is a memory then. Hmm. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Well, is it possible that all of this is actually a story?
yes.
Hmm. Well, so let me explain little further what a story is. It's important. The mind builds stories in order to protect us. The mind would, like us to avoid certain behaviors that it might harm us, right?
Yeah.
But the way that it builds stories is it begins with memories, and it chooses those memories in a very deliberate way. So think about the story and notice, isn't it possible that you've chosen the worst possible examples for that story?
Mm.
Isn't it possible that perhaps there was some time when somebody said that thing or did that thing that triggers and
Like it's no, it's the story.
mm,
It's about it's not a it's not it's I will say it, because if not you will not understand what I'm trying to refer. Yeah. And so I was with someone and we broke up, and what triggers me is if I hear his language, if I hear his name, if I hear anything that is related to him that is not about him, but is just anything that triggers me, just even hearing the language. So that's very annoying,
mm.
because it doesn't have to do anything with the person. So that's what annoys me.
And how long ago did all this happen, this breakup?
Mm, mm, Not long ago, but not recent. A
Mm-hmm.
year, I would say. Yeah, something like that.
A year. Uh-huh. Okay. Let's dive in a little bit deeper. So one thing that happens with a breakup is grief.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So let me just check with you. Is grief here? Or can it be noticed, or can it be invited up?
Yes.
Hmm. And just as best you can, could you open to that? Allow it to be here. Give it some more space.
Yes.
Yeah. And notice that there might also be a little resistance.
Yeah.
Right. So is resistance also welcome? That not wanting to feel it?
Yeah.
And so let's go back to that feeling of grief on a scale of 1 to 10. How intensely does that show up?
It's still very intense, like 10.
10. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then check into that feeling of not wanting to feel it, that resistance. How intensely does that come up?
Also 10.
And between the two, can you notice which one is even stronger?
I think the resistance.
That's usually the case. Well, let's play just a little bit. So just allow that feeling of grief and just give it the space that you can, the best you can, just for now.
Yeah.
And then could you open to that resistance, the not wanting to feel it?
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to go back and forth a bit. So again, the grief, please.
Yes.
And then the resistance.
Okay.
And then the grief. And then resistance. And one more
Yeah.
time, the grief. And then the resistance.
They both feel the same way now.
Uh-huh, okay.
Like the sensation. Yeah.
Right. Part of the resistance to grief is that if we, there's a sense that the grief is really a kind of a connection to that relationship, that person. And that if we
Yeah.
let go of the grief, we let go of that relationship, that person, that memory, that everything. You have a sense of that?
Yeah. I think it's more of wanting to have the relationship.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But if you allow grief, if you let go of the grief, if you allow it to pass through, then you lose the relationship forever.
Yeah.
That's the sense.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So just noticing that is also part of actually healing that.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's also a good observation to share with the group is that a lot of times when you simply you see the pattern, you see the mechanism, that's already 9/10 of the solution right there. But let's explore a little further. Does this show up in the body, that grief?
Yes. In
Mm-hmm.
the truth.
Oh, excellent. So could you just focus entirely on the body?
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And be thorough. Have a good look and see, is there only the throat or any other place? Check for any kind of tension, any kind of discomfort, any kind of unwanted feeling in the body. Just as best you can, could you open to it and give it permission to be here?
Yes.
And then notice you've given all of this a name. You've given it a story, an explanation. But what if it's just energy in the body? Could you allow it to be like that, just for now, as best you can?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And would you?
Yeah.
And when?
Now.
So notice how things shift a little bit with that.
I still have the sensation, but it's like, yeah, I can let it be here. Yeah.
You let it be here, but also it's a little bit less sticky, perhaps. It may be moving a bit too. But again, so focus on that sensation and as best you can, just allow it to be here like you're doing.
Yeah.
And then shift your attention to that which surrounds the sensation, to all that is not the sensation.
Yeah.
And then back to the sensation. We're going to do this as well, a little back and forth.
Okay.
So notice the sensation and welcome it as best you can. And then notice that which surrounds it. Notice that upon which the sensation appears.
Yeah.
Take a few deep breaths as well. Just allow it like that. And then notice the sensation. And then notice that which surrounds it, upon which it appears. And so here's the question. Is it the same as when we started, or is it shifting, or has it shifted?
It's a little bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a
Okay.
little bit lighter. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, now let's go back to the beginning. So just
Okay.
call up again that story, those memories, that
Yeah.
grief, right?
Yeah.
All of that. And again, you may remember what I suggested is that you're holding on to this because you feel if you let go of this, you'll lose the connection entirely. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, because I want back that relationship. That's yeah.
Right, right. Well, in that case, is it possible that this grief is trying to get a positive result for you? Is it trying to help in some way?
Yes.
In that case, what if this is actually just love? Oh, I admit, maybe wearing a carnival mask, a little distorted, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
what if what you've described as grief, what if that's actually love? Would you be open to that possibility?
Yes. Yeah, I know there is love, a lot of love there. Yeah.
Right. Well, so could you just welcome that love and allow it to be as it is? And it might also help to take a few breaths, deep breaths, and just invite it up. And let's go back and forth a little bit with love and grief. So just notice what you've called grief.
Okay.
and notice love. And notice grief. And then love. And when you're ready, shall we try an experiment?
Yeah.
Can you invite grief and love together?
Like right now, I
Mm-hmm.
cannot really feel the love. I feel like grief is just the love also.
Well, fine then. Can you just invite the whole package and just allow it like that?
Yeah.
And notice also there's a sweetness to it. Do you sense that?
No.
No. Within that grief is contained also that love.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And can you see where the love ends and the grief begins? Is there a boundary between the two?
No.
Hmm. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Yes. I feel that's the stories that like I'm attached to the grief because it's the love itself also. I don't know.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Well, so just for now, could you allow yourself to enjoy it? Or enjoy is not the right word, but let's pretend. Pretend that this is the most fantastic feeling, the most
Okay, I will pretend
delicious
that.
sensation. Exactly. And could you even taste it, savor it, explore it, as if you've been waiting all your life to feel this? Invite it up in all of its intensity and just, it's the best possible thing you could ever experience.
Yeah, I can do that.
And just sit with it like that, no hurry. Hmm. Allow yourself to fill completely with that. And just drink it all. Taste every drop. And as you breathe deeply, it rises further. And let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is this really such a bad thing?
No.
Is it the same as when you started?
Yes. Actually,
Okay.
yeah, it feels very, very intense.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not. It's just yeah, it's intense sensation. I know it's not the end of the world.
Well, and then I suggested that you experience it as something delicious and wonderful. And is it possible?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So what I will tell you is sometimes it does take time with grief. It needs its time. And the way that you've been experiencing it now, don't you prefer this?
And like it's because I've been also releasing in that for like doing all of this for all this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
Well, what I'm saying is that it does take time for grief
Yes.
for most of us. And as you discovered, there is a tendency to hold it in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what we're doing right now, what we have been doing, is the opposite. It's been
Yeah.
welcoming it completely, allowing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll ask you again, is it possible that you prefer to experience it this way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So my suggestion for you would be, if you're open to it, you might just take a little time now and then to
Yeah.
do this as a way of cherishing the memory of this relationship and this person and as experiencing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, can I ask you which language it was that you had an aversion to?
Italian.
Oh dear. I see. So, okay. Hmm.
Yeah. So it's everywhere.
You can't escape it, sure.
Yeah.
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 I hope that's useful, Sam, and thanks for stepping
Thank you.
up tonight.
Yeah. Thank you.
Exactly. Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's been an hour and a half, but I'm still on a roll, and I saw that Lena just stepped back in the call, and I would just like to make a last invitation if Lena would like to step up, and it's not required, or anybody else. Otherwise, we'll end the call. And I have to warn you all, I don't mind sitting in silence for a little bit. So, well then, I feel like that's probably the right time to end the call. I'd like to thank you all for coming. And yeah, I'm doing this every Friday. One observation, though, this is kind of interesting. I started off by talking about politics, but even as I was talking, I just lost interest, to be honest with you. Isn't that strange? So, anyway, this is how it works with releasing, sometimes anyway. And I'm just going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to turn off the recording. I invite you to unmute and say goodbye if you'd like to, and then we can end the call. So, thank you, everybody, for turning up, and it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you all.
See you guys next week. There we go.